Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, May 18th. Just got off work. Got the next couple of days off. Skipped yesterday, but I did game with my buddies. In fact, skipped it because I was just focusing on making sure I got that through. I'm not 100%, but I'm definitely on the road to recovery, and it was fine. I don't think that I set myself back at all gaming with my buddies. In fact, today, feeling better, even still, taking calls all day at work, talking all day. Probably only had a cough drop in for maybe half of the time. Which is the first day I've done that, and not just had a cough drop stuffed in my cheek the entire time. So I am definitely having some recovery, and that is encouraging. That is good. That is nice. That is what I want. Is to be getting healthier. Now, of course, it's Tuesday, which is movie day, and I probably basically know what movie I'm watching. And the one I'm watching, I'm choosing for a bit of a more unusual reason than some, but and largely because it's not the first priority for today. No. I have something I'm doing first. I'm going to run up to Fantasy Shop and get the new D&D book, because there's a new D&D book. Come on, let's go. Vandrictins guide is out today. Time to get D&D. Yay, been looking forward to it. So I come here to get the book, because that way I don't have to wait for shipping, and I can start reading it sooner. But I look here, and they have one of the Wild Shape sets for the same price that Cool Stuff Inc. has it for, so might as well support my local store. So I'm going to pick that up too. Also, it makes me feel a little better seeing it, because some of those figures are a lot bigger than I imagined looking at the images online. And so I have gotten Vandrictins Guide to Ravenloft and got it home. I need to start reading it as soon as I can, because not this Thursday, but next Thursday, I hope to have that video filmed, edited, and released on that day. I hope. I haven't begun reading the book yet, so we'll see what I can do. But that's why I run out and I get that from a friendly local gaming store on the day it releases to start reading it as quickly as possible. Likewise, it is the reason that I am watching the movie that I am watching today. Today, I will be watching The Pagemaster, which is a movie that is 75 minutes long. Are you saying, Adam, are you choosing the movie based on it being basically one of the shortest ones you own? Yeah, I am. Now, I own this movie because as a kid, it was, and I don't know if you, well, if you're not in my age group or older, you definitely don't, but as a kid, you know, we would regularly go rent movies. Blockbuster was our go-to place. And there were a few movies that I would rent time and again. Why we didn't at some point just buy the movie so I owned it, I do not know. But this was one of the movies that I remember be like, I wanted to rent that several times so I could watch it over and over. So at some point as an adult, I saw it, I think, in like those cheap movie bins that Walmart used to have, or I don't know, maybe they still do. And I picked it up. And my recollection from watching it at that point, which I've watched it once since I bought it, was that wasn't as good as I remember. Now, as a kid, again, I quite loved it. I'm sure it's the cute little book people, and there's like a dragon, and Macaulay Culkin, who was in Home Alone, and I loved Home Alone. So, you know, it's got some stuff going for it. But I don't have high anticipation based on my more recent memories of it. However, it is only 75 minutes, and I want to watch something. I do want to continue watching a movie. I don't want to skip a week. So, I'm going to watch The Pagemaster. And I would give Pagemaster 3.5 out of 10. I feel a little bad about that. So I think I also need to qualify. That is me, as an adult, rating this film. That I recall as a child really enjoying. I am not the target audience for this film. It is designed for children. I think, if anything, the most outrageous thing is the quote. Lively, vivid, appealing to all age groups, according to Allison McCord of the Austin Chronicle. That is a lie. It is not appealing to all age groups. But to kids, yeah. I think it definitely would be. And it wasn't terrible. It was just boring. The movie. The description per the box. Macaulay Culkin stars in this wondrous tale of adventure and fantasy which sends a young boy into the pages of the world's greatest stories. Seeking refuge from a storm, timid Richard Tyler enters an empty library only to be swept away into the magical animated world of the Pagemaster. It's a timeless place of wonder and discovery where legendary characters from literary classics come alive. Richard meets the infamous Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and comes face to face with the mighty Moby Dick, the treacherous pirates on Treasure Island, and a giant fire-breathing dragon. Guided by a trio of talking books, adventure, fantasy, and horror, Richard must conquer his greatest fears before he can find his way home. Co-starring Christopher Lloyd and featuring the voices of Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Stewart, Leonard Nimoy, and Frank Welker, this live-action/animated fantasy will captivate the entire family. 1994. Color, 75 minutes. I mean, it does include that in the same font as all the description. As if it's just part of it. Which also, it's 94. You have to specify this is color. Whatever. So first off, that cast. The cast is great. Even the concept is great. Just pulling together all those literary, classic stories and figures into a great. They set up real quick, which they have it's a short movie, so they kind of have to. But they set up really quick. This kid is terrified of everything. And therefore, the story is the story of this kid conquering his fears. I think my biggest complaint can be seen when you look at this. Let me just get this to focus here. You see this? This is the DVD cover here. And you have Macaulay Culkin in the center with that sword. With the dragon in the background. And you got fantasy, horror, and adventure all writing that book because the dragon's breathing the fire. And that looks so cool. That's not an image from the movie. Because at no point does Macaulay Culkin hold that sword. At no point does Macaulay Culkin stand beside those three books. Because throughout the movie, it's a little animated version of Macaulay Culkin. If they'd have done something akin to Pete's Dragon, or Mary Poppins when they go into the sidewalk, where it's an animated world with your live action character in it, I think I would have continued as an adult to appreciate the movie as much as I did as a kid. But that is not what they did. They have a scene where you're transitioning from live action story into animated, and Macaulay Culkin steps into a sound booth and just records his lines, and animators animate an animated version of Macaulay Culkin. And it's just a cartoon. So it says live action /animated, But there's a lot more separation because those do not coincide. And I think that is the problem I have. It is live action at the beginning. We switch over to an animated movie, and then we get an ending in live action. I would have much rather the technical and visually interesting process of having a live action Macaulay Culkin integrated into all of the animated scenes. That would be a better movie. It would have. But that's not what they did. Overall, the general concept of, all these different literary classics is fun. Obviously, it's a short movie. None of them get much time. It's zooming through it, but it is quickly the idea that he is overcoming challenges through the three different, characters that are leading him, each of their worlds. Quickly go through horror, escape, Mr. Hyde, pass through ghost stories, move on to sailing the sea and adventure, coming across Moby Dick, having their little rowboat broken and ending up on a pirate ship, taken to Treasure Island, passing through there, escaping pirates, to a random musical number out of nowhere, and then running from and eventually battling a dragon. Awesome concept for defeating the dragon. Of swallowed by dragon, having to look through the books. And the books throughout, you open the book and things from the book come out. Opening Jack and the Beanstalk and growing a beanstalk out of the mouth of the dragon. Great. Horror is an endearing character. I love Horror. He's so sweet. Fantasy is Whoopi Goldberg and has her, characteristic attitude, which I do not care for, such attitude. I don't like the character because of it, but it does offer plenty of opportunities for comedy. And so, Christopher Lloyd is great. And he is the other one that we actually get to see live action for a little bit, because he's both the librarian and the Pagemaster. But overall, definitely more geared towards kids. And as an adult, things I found interesting were trying to catch the titles written on books in the background. Story is very simple. Very rushed. There's really no depth. You have one character which you are observing the growth that is very clearly set out from I'm afraid of everything to I am now brave enough to climb up in a treehouse and to jump a ramp on my bike. They set up some very clear obstacles that he cannot do at the beginning, and at the end they say he has overcome this. Great. But it's a cartoon that overcame it. There's no growth for the actual character, it's just a cartoon. Anyways. I wanted more. But I did like it when I was a kid, so there's that. Otherwise, it's not yet 7. But I'm going to call it a day here because the rest of my day is going to be reading through Vandrictins' Guide to Ravenloft. Actually, a little fitting for the movie. There was a part that was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and horror and all that, and there should be stuff about that in here. So sweet. And happy to have a new D&D book. Happy to delve into it. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me, and joining me as my journey continues.